On the 14th day of Vlogmas, what does Sandy Mom have for you? Ag eglite, six Geister to Ganessen. So how y'all doing? Did you watch the Vlogmas Day 13 vlogs? There was a surprise visitor. What did you think? I'll never know. Nobody comments. I don't know. I feel so alone in this cyberspace. So, I don't know if my friend will come back because I don't know if you want to see my friend. So if you didn't watch the bonus vlog on Vlogmas Day 13, go back and look and comment in the comments. Not in the shorts, because for some reason those comments keep going off. I don't know why. Or comment on this one. Would you like to see the mystery guest? Wasn't there a show long ago? Yeah, What's My Line or something? I was just watching stuff from long ago. It wasn't on, it was before my time, but we started with watching, Polly always has to watch old commercials, and then, you know, what you watch, they show you more of. And so I always ask you to share my channel, because then if you share it and more people watch, then more people get to watch, and on and on and on. But anyhow, I was going to do a little story time today. Yes, I was. So I'm holding the phone with my left hand. I have a piece of paper. I made some notes this time so I can actually remember something. And I have this little thing here. Let me show you. Look at this. It's a magnifying glass with a light. Now, the first one I bought at the Dollar Tree long ago when it was used to be the Dollar Tree, it worked. Now this, the magnifier doesn't work. But see, I got a crossover. So my left, oh, what is this pointing to? Peaches. Look at that. Let's see if it works. No. These are peach slices. That is for one of my recipes that I've been waiting to make. This has probably been sitting here in front of me forever to remind me if I ever get a burst of energy. But anyhow, okay, I'm going to read you a couple of quotes here, and then go on with the rest of the story, as they say. So there's a quote. Don't put off until tomorrow what you can do today. Now I'd say guess who said that, but if nobody's commenting, nobody's going to guess. So I will tell you, or tell me. Again, don't put off until tomorrow what you can do today. And when I was telling Polly about the situation that I'm going to talk about, I said, there's some kind of quote, something about, I don't remember how I said it. Like, don't wait till tomorrow to do something that you can do today. Something like that. And then I put it into Google, and this is what came out. Then, again, as you search, as you look, when you share, then it brings you to another place. And I was surprised. This one I didn't hear of. I love quotes. This says, never put off till tomorrow what you can do the day after tomorrow. Oh, that so reminds me of some awful person that I don't want to talk about anymore. But anyhow, that was by Mark Twain. And I'm sure you've you knew him personally, didn't you? Well, maybe some people did. I don't know. He was the one that if you went to school, you probably, well, I don't know. I went to Catholic school, so maybe in public school they don't have mandatory reading. Catholic school reading was very much here we go again. Emphasized. What is it? My lips are so dry. Emphasized. That's the word. I know the word just doesn't come off my lips. But he wrote The Adventures of Tom Sawyer and The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn. And I think a huckleberry is an actual berry. But did you know that how he became famous was not for those two books? So if the something moves you, that's another quote. If the what moves you? I'll probably look it up later. You can ask Polly, he'll tell you. If I say something and I don't know it all, I look it up. But anyhow, if the whatever moves you, What do you think made Mark Twain famous? It wasn't those two books. And what was Benjamin Franklin famous for? Do you know? It was not only one thing, he had many things that he was famous for, but that will be another vlog. There's a lot of interesting stuff when I looked up that saying that I said. But anyhow, back to the original saying, don't put off until tomorrow what you can do today. That is so true. And especially, in the busy times, and there goes my light. It doesn't work when you want it to, but then it just goes on by itself. Anyhow, and I thought it was fitting for the holiday season. Because, I've always, even as a child, I always thought it was, peculiar isn't the word I'm searching for, but we'll use peculiar. No, I don't like that word. It was odd, no, strange. I don't know. I remember once a family I worked for, and they used the word sheeple. I don't know if it's a political term. If it is, I'm sorry. I don't talk politics. On a side note, I got a real good bag of Cortland apples, and I want to make applesauce so bad. I'm just looking over there at them. But anyhow, back to what I was talking about. Forgot. What was I talking about? Polly, do you remember? The last thing I just said? No. Oh yeah, during the holiday season. No, oh yeah. What I always thought was, well, I don't know the word. The word escapes me. But anyhow, so, on the calendar, for example, it says Valentine's Day. So everybody has rushed out, and the last minute men are at the grocery store buying flowers, or even worse, at the gas station buying the dollar rose. Yeah, there's no dollar rose. The one rose that is overpriced and that gets bad right after you give it to your love of your life. But anyhow, it's a thought that counts. But anyhow, because it says on the calendar it's Valentine's Day, everyone runs out and spends money and flowers and chocolate, perfume, dinner, and all that lovey-dovey stuff. And then the calendar says Easter, and then I don't know if anyone's children or grandchildren listen to my channel, so we'll just keep it that way. You know what I mean. And then it says Christmas, and everyone's running around and making and baking special things that they don't make all year round. And I thought that's weird. It's like, oh, I can't say the word, but it's a type of government that they rule your lives. That's what it reminded me of. And I would always call our country, not out in public, but I would always say to my close friends, it's like we live in, and it begins with a C, ABC, the word that begins with C, USA. So it wasn't a freedom. We didn't have freedom because we see this and everyone runs like this sheeple word I heard, or, I don't know if you get what I try to say. Just because it says February 14th is Valentine's Day doesn't mean you have to go out to dinner, buy flowers and all that. Of course, you may have an unhappy significant other, spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever it is. But every day should be Valentine's Day in my book. But that would only be with George Clooney because, well, I don't know. Does he seem the romantic type? I don't know. I'm trying to think. Who would I think of? People I know. I don't know. Do you have any actors or singers that you would think would be romantic? I remember there was, well, from watching old movies of Dean Martin, no, I don't think he'd be romantic. I don't know, I'd have to think of that. So if you can think of anyone, an actor and a singer, anyone who, from what you know, they seem romantic. But anyhow, that would be my perfect man who would treat every day as Valentine's Day. And I'm not saying to buy me roses and chocolate and perfume and take me to dinner because I'm not that type of person, but just to write me a little note every day. Because every day should be a day of love. Christmas, people rush around and, make all the Christmas desserts I see on YouTube, Christmas desserts, and God forbid if you made them other times. And, when it's fall, autumn, whatever you call it, or, Thanksgiving, it's always pumpkin stuff. I do pumpkin stuff all year round. I guess I'm not a conformist. If I want to make a pumpkin cookies with chocolate chips. Well, can't do that anymore because Polly can't eat chocolate, but I would make them in the spring. So I don't believe in, well, I guess I'm not going to do well in this new government that we're going to supposedly have happen to us if we survive the blast, that is. Oh, I'm just full of doom and gloom, aren't I? Well, kind of is the end of the vlog, the point of the vlog, not the point, I never try to make a point of what I'm talking about today is very sad. But anyhow, this all came to fruition because what I'm going to talk about made me think, which I told Polly, you shouldn't put off tomorrow what you could do today or whatever I thought it was. Then I looked up the saying, and then I found out about who said it was Benjamin Franklin. Then came up the Mark Twain thing, and on and on. Did anyone know about that Mark Twain one? I didn't. I thought it was interesting. So to me, it sounds like if he said that, he must have been a lazy person. And I don't remember, it's a long time since I was in high school, but those two books I mentioned, I think it was about a boy who was kind of lazy. Something about painting a fence. He didn't do it because he'd rather do something else. I don't know, something like that. I'm sure I'll look it up later. But anyhow, so what I'm trying to get at is the people that rush around, and it seems to be mostly men, on the 24th they're in the stores, which good luck. If they're in the stores on the 24th, I doubt there'd be anything left. I don't know. I haven't been to a store in ages, but I don't even know what stores are like. Do they even have things, But anyhow, not just that, but things in life. I always used to say, you only see people in weddings and funerals, and that is horrible. And I always tried through life, and it seemed like when I had more kids and more on my plate, I made more time to do these things. I don't know how it was possible, but I did. I would always make sure I would call my friends, or, I was the one who was like, get up off your butt. No, I didn't say that. But let's get together, It was always their kids, my kids, and me. But let's go out when we used to have friendlies. Let's go out, take the kids out to eat. This was in my first marriage, obviously, where we were better off. Let's go to friendlies. Let's meet for lunch. Let's go to the park. I don't want to just see you at a wedding or at a funeral, because to me it was important. I don't know, because if it was from my growing up, because I was a latchkey kid. My mom worked and took all overtime, and I was alone. And I always thought it's important to see people. It's important to acknowledge people, because if you notice on TV, when someone famous dies, they are the most wonderful, best person. They are almost like sainthood. Were they really, or did they just say that? Or were they, and why did they talk about that when they were still alive? I could never understand that, and to this day, I don't understand it. Because you don't ever hear when someone dies that they were the most horrible person. They were in line in a grocery store. They're a millionaire, and they were in line in a grocery store because, I don't know, their grocery store buyer person didn't go, or they wanted to pick out their own shrimp or crab or whatever. I don't know. I'm trying to make the story to make what I'm trying to say. But anyhow, so they're in the store, this rich millionaire, and the person in front of them was short a penny, and they would not give the penny. Would they talk about that when they died, when they announced on TV a famous person died, and they were so cheap they couldn't give a penny to a poor old lady? No, of course not. So do you ever find that just weird, that people are just so wonderful after they die? Ponder that thought for a minute. Okay, on to the next thing. So what brought me in a roundabout way, and I'll try not to make this 20 minutes because I'm sure you're all tired of watching the long vlogs, but once I get to talking, I talk about one thing which leads me to another and another, and God forbid I looked up stuff today, so I'm trying to keep it short. But anyhow, so why I was thinking about that saying to tell my son was because I was on Facebook and I saw someone I knew from long ago, who, by the way, is a multimillionaire. As my mom would say, you could fall in love with a rich man as much as a poor man, or a poor man as much as a rich. Does anyone know how that saying goes? I'm sure I will forget to look that up because I have many things in my head that I want to look up. But anyhow, But anyhow, this person was in my life long ago. I don't want to say because I don't know if they watch my vlogs, but anyhow. And we were doing a legal thing, and he was also trying to get ready for his wedding, going to his rehearsal dinner, and we were trying to finish up loose ends of a legal document, let's say. So anyhow, I saw that he wrote that his wife died, and I was shocked. And of course, she died of what? Yes, you guessed it, cancer. And I was reading there were many, they were well known, these people, because rich people are usually well known. But anyhow, I guess they kept it private, because a lot of people said, oh my gosh, I didn't know. And these were people that seemed very close to them. And I was just shocked because I remember he gave his wife the most perfect world. He was born with a silver spoon in his mouth, but then he worked for a living, and he worked very hard, and he provided for his family and his children and his children's children. And just, he did what I always said. And there was a story I told once about, like how I said I would get people out, like kids from my school. I got to know the parents. I was on the PTA or whatever they were called in Catholic schools. But anyhow, this one woman told me a story. She says, my mother-in-law gave us, I forgot, it was a lot of money. She said she didn't want to leave it in the will. She wanted to watch us enjoy the money. So they bought a new house. They had a pool, a jacuzzi. They went on trips with the grandparents. And I thought, wow, that was really nice. So what this guy I knew, they would take trips in the summer, and I think they owned cabins and property everywhere. But anyhow, they all went and put up their beautiful pictures. And I haven't looked at them in a while. I guess because, things have not been good for a while around here. So looking at stuff like that kind of is like, gee, I wish I could just get a taste of that. Not that I need vacations, but it's family, getting together and all that. But anyhow, back to what I was talking about. Sorry again. I should not clear my throat. I just do it, by habit, I guess. But anyhow, I'm losing my voice. But what started with the phrase that I said to Polly that I had to look up to get it right, and now I told you, and I enlightened you and made you a bit smarter. I don't know. Not saying you're not smart. I'm saying I'm sharing just things because I love quotes. But anyhow, so I saw that, and then I don't know what got into my head, but there was a woman I knew. A woman I knew for a long time. She was older than me. Everyone's older than me. When I went to school, I was always like 6 months older than everyone. And back then it seemed like, oh my God, I'm so much older. Like I could get my license before anyone else. I could go drinking before anyone else, But then 6 months is nothing. But I knew she was older than me. I didn't know how much. But it was, I found out yesterday, which you'll be watching this today, but I filmed it yesterday, or maybe it's already today in the, early wee hours of the morning. But anyhow, after I saw that this guy I knew, his wife died, and I think I had mentioned my one friend told me she reads obituaries, and I said, that's morbid, why would you do that? So I don't know, she must have got to me, and I thought, I'm going to just look up this woman I know. And guess what? Came up right away. I Googled her name. She died. And that's what made me think of that saying. She always said to me, and she worked somewhere where I took my kids. I don't want to give a lot of personal information away, but where I took my kids on a weekly basis, she worked there. And she always said, she didn't drive, so I would sometimes pick her up and bring her home. She lived close to me, so I would see her walking, and I'd stop and pick her up. And she always would say no and no, and then once she said yes, or a couple times. But she always said, you should stop by sometime, and I want to take you and your kids out to McDonald's or somewhere, wherever you want to eat. And, that's when I had a bunch of kids, and I would call her. We exchanged phone numbers. We talked quite a lot. And she always says, you got to come over, you got to come over. One day we just stopped by. It was in the evening, and we stopped by. Oh, yeah, we had to do errands, and somebody had to go to potty, so we stopped there, went to the bathroom, talked a little. She says, we got to get together. And I says, I know. And, I was always busy with a lot of kids. And then I thought, that's even McDonald's. I mean, back then was $1.99 for a Happy Meal. What is a Happy Meal nowadays? I don't know. Don't tell me it's $10, but I'd believe it. But anyhow, and then later when I just had a few kids and I stopped by, I made it a point to stop by every once in a while at her house. And, she always brought that up. And I don't know. I just felt that, she was an older woman and I didn't want her spending her money on me, but it would have been a treat because that's something that I just, in the last few years, it's been, well, since 2016, my life was turned upside down, and that would be a luxury to go to McDonald's. But anyhow, so she died. She's gone, and I feel such awful, awful guilt. Why didn't I stop by and say, okay, let's go? Because maybe that meant a lot to her. And you could tell she enjoyed her life. She worked at this place where my kids went to for a long time. And she was always happy. But, she always looked the same. In the picture in her obituary, she looked the same that I knew her from years ago. But she was just a really nice lady, and I feel awful. I just feel terrible. I feel guilt. I feel guilt easy, like when I say, I don't really think I said, yeah, sure, I'll do that. But I don't know, maybe I alluded to the fact. But I feel bad. And I'll carry that guilt with me because that's the type of personality I have. Oh, that's my thumb the whole time. I'm sorry. But I feel really bad. And she died, not just now where I could go. Well, I wouldn't go because I don't know if my car would make it, and I wouldn't want to, drag Polly somewhere like that where there would be people. But I didn't read the whole obituary. I don't know. I kind of think she was cremated. But anyhow, I don't know if they had any kind of, like they have a little memorial service. But it doesn't matter. She died over a year ago. I feel really bad that we never went to McDonald's. Ugh. Why am I like this? I don't know. I should just let it go. But I just feel, I don't know, this is the way I am. I've always been this way. That's why I always, like I said, when I had more kids, I always made it a point to, come on, let's get together. Even to the park with the kids, whatever. I thought it was important to stay in touch. And then, I would even write letters. Did you ever write letters back in the day? I love letters. I love to get letters in the mail. Oh my gosh. It would make me so happy. And then, the computer age came, and then nobody wrote letters. I still did for a while, and my friends did for a while, but then they were like, well, we can just email. And then you would get an email, electronic birthday card or something. I mean, yes, it was nice. I love anybody that would send me a birthday card because, like I said, my birthday's the day after Christmas and no one remembers. And that's why my mom made my day special, and I make Polly's day special, if nothing but a card. But it was just it felt impersonal. I mean, there's a Dollar Tree. You can get a card for, well, I don't know, they used to be 2 for $1. But anyhow, it's just, it meant a lot that someone would take the time out of their day to pick out a card. And I think because I have that mindset, I just feel that guilt about, why didn't I take the time? And I did take the time. I stopped at her house a lot. I picked her up a lot, brought her home. But why didn't I take time for that? Because I looked into her life, found out she was very wealthy. I didn't know this, not that it mattered, but I just thought, maybe she lived on a fixed income. And, I would have wanted to offer to pay, but then I didn't want to insult her. I think too much. Bottom line, I guess I think too much. So anyhow, we're already at 24 minutes, so the short story. So the moral of the story is, my mouth is so dry, my gosh. Winter, it's real bad. The moral of my story is, if you want to get together with a friend or call a friend, do it. Because you don't want to one day Google them and find out they're no longer here. And I thought it was fitting during the holiday season because I guess I could say, besides weddings and funerals, maybe in holiday time you see people. But now I heard part of the news today, well, yesterday, today, you know what I mean. And it said, they're telling people to, get the thing in their arm. And they actually said maybe to think about wearing masks, because I kept saying, say masks, they work. And they actually not mandate, not a harsh way like they were saying with the thing in your arm. But they said you might want to think about it, when you're inside. Because even if you get tested, you may be for that day okay. Because usually people test, 2-3 days out, 4 week. I don't even know. We don't go anywhere, so it's just the two of us. But maybe that day they were negative, but they're positive. So they said maybe you might want to think of masking up in case there's little children or older people around, or immunocompromised people. So do it for someone else if you don't do it for yourself. Think of others, not just the presents and the food you make and the goodies you eat and the games you play. If you play Christmas games like Bean Boozle. Still can't find it for Polly. I was hoping that I could get for him for Christmas or his birthday. Can't find it. That's a fun game to play if you can find it. But anyhow, the important thing besides Jesus is the reason for the season is maybe put on that mask for somebody else. So for now, I just had a blank. What's it called? A brain fart? Yep, that's what I had. Anyhow, don't forget to subscribe, like, hit the notification bell, share our channel. Sharing is caring. Don't forget to pay it forward. It feels good in your heart, Polly's heart, and my heart. Don't forget to be kind to people and yourself. We're all going through hard times in this world. Nobody wants to watch the news anymore because there's nothing good on it. It's an awful, sad place we live in, and it's up to you to make yourself happy and others too. So reach out and help someone out. It's a good feeling. Just make that call. Don't wait until tomorrow, because no one's promised a tomorrow. I'm sorry to end it on such an awful, horrible note, but it is true. So whoever you've been thinking of calling or getting together, do it. Take it from me, do it. So for now, thanks for stopping by. Check out the video, the bonus video from Vlogmas Day 13, and comment if you would like that special visitor to come on to Vlogmas. So for now, bye everyone.